Arielle in California.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, I'm nervous.
We're just chatting on the phone. No big deal.
We got a little punchy in the last call, but we'll try to bring it down for you.
I enjoyed listening to that.
Oh, good.
I was inspired by your first caller from India.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I was inspired to call was that I'm not Hindu, but I was a Neo-Pagan priestess for about 26 years overall. And I was in charge of doing rituals and, offerings to the gods. And I had about a year and a half ago, Christopher Hitchens' book, God is Not Great, How Religion Poisons Everything. I started running into more and more problems, and when I made complaints about some of the toxic behavior of, my fellow Neo-Pagans, nobody listened to me. And some of it was quite serious. In one case, one of those groups marched with the neo-Nazis in Charlottesville.
Ooh,
and
wow.
It's really, really horrible because not all, but a lot of Neo-Pagans and heathens, and I'm talking about the real heathens that really that do worship the Germanic gods, a lot of them have become quite nationalist.
Wow.
And
that is, I think a lot of things about neo-pagans and people who lead rituals and things, but
that wasn't top of my list.
Being a neo-Nazi isn't one that I would have pegged them for, but I'm willing to learn this new horrible information.
Yeah, it is horrible, and it's fairly recent. It hasn't always been that way. In fact, the ADL, is it American Defamation League? That was my husband.
That exists. They're against anti-Semitism mainly, I think.
Right, and they actually have reported on one of our symbols as, and in fact, our religion my former religion had to fight it. Now that it wasn't always a bad thing, but unfortunately, the symbol was marched with the swastika in Charlottesville. Yeah. I saw it, and I was absolutely horrified by it.
Wait. Were the people who were carrying the swastika definitely neo-pagans, or were they just carrying it because they identified with Nazism?
Yes and no. Okay. Some of them were Christians that are white supremacists, and some of them, not as many, but a few, are they wouldn't call themselves neo-pagans. You understand what I'm trying to say is, how Christians have different denominations and they argue among themselves.
Boy, do I.
Our movement had the exact same thing. And so there are some people that call themselves heathens, and I know you must know Marvel Comics, so you're familiar with Thor and Odin and all those gods, right? Well, we believe those gods were real, and we're not the only ones. I mean, they have the first heathen temple has been built near where I live, and also Iceland has a pagan temple now. Although most of the people in Iceland, including people that are heathens, and I'm not talking about the godless heathens, I'm talking about the heathens with the gods. Most of them are actually atheists, but they have a religion.
I want to ask you, so do you personally know some people who identified as neo-pagan and are now marching with Nazis or have marched with Nazis?
Yes, I do know them, and I have worshipped with them, and I have done rituals with them. So the answer to that is yes.
That's got to be real bad wake-up call, yeah.
It is a bad wake-up call, and that's not all that happened. That was just one of many things where I saw abuse, and I completely agree with what Christopher Hitchens says, that religion poisons everything. But I have to say that part of the reason I became a neo-pagan is because I thought our religion was better than that. I really did. I really truly believed it. I really believed that we could avoid the mistakes the Christians have made. And I don't know if you know that much about Christian history, but Christians back in the time when they were converting Europe literally lined up pagans and killed them because they wouldn't convert to Christianity. Well, and the Catholic Encyclopedia still talks about this.
The problem with a lot of religions is that they're filled with people. And
Yeah, if they were just a Platonic ideal
Yeah.
of religion, then they would be perfect.
and some people just can't behave themselves or have immoralities. And the one thing we do know for sure is that religion does not fix that problem. So
Yeah.
that's a knock against religion and its validity.
And before anyone jumps on this, atheism also does not fix this problem.
Because they're people.
Yeah, and
I
there
completely
are
agree.
petty squabbles among atheists, and there are people playing politics, and
Self-serving and
That
all kinds of
just
things.
happens for real. And I think the lesson to take from that is, I mean, first of all, I happen to think that atheism is just factually correct. I don't think there's a God. I don't see any reason to believe in God. I'm willing to be proven wrong, yada, yada, yada. But I do not think that deciding there is no God gives you superpowers of perception. It doesn't make you incredibly rational overnight. It doesn't make you immune to the desires of all humans to gain personal honor and glory and money. And I think the problem is in putting all your trust in a specific institution and then just not seeing anything that can go wrong. Because if there's anything that we do know, it's that you have to be constantly vigilant against people dragging down whatever it is you're doing with their petty squabbles. Having said that, neo-paganism is nonsense. I don't want to lose track of the point there.
Yeah, that's part of the reason I was calling, because it took about 1.5 years for me to make the break, but I haven't told anybody who, except for 2 people, that I've become an atheist and anti-theist. I really was a true believer. I mean, I really believed in the gods. I believed they were real. And I had religious experiences. And it wasn't until I read Richard Dawkins' The God Delusion and Hitchens and Daniel Dennett that I realized what had happened to me. And it was, you know, it slowly kind of infected me to the point where I was one of those people that were letting people get away with abusing others in the name of their gods.
Yeah.
And this was a terrifying and horrible thing for me to be in. It was just because I really loved my religion and I loved what I was doing. That said, once I stepped away, I felt like I had walked out into the sunlight, into a different world. And it was so much better than the religious world I was living in. It really was. It was every day is just filled with wonder now, because I see everything no longer through that lens of a foggy lens of religion. And I feel really lost because I feel like I can't tell my former co-priests and priestesses this, but at the same time, I feel really liberated. Like, oh my gosh, I'm finally free.
Yeah. Well, welcome to the club again.
That's really nice.
Thanks. But I have a question.
Well, I would like to let you ask your question, but we're about out of time. Can we do about 30 seconds on it, or do you need to call back another week?
Just a quick 30 seconds. I would
All
like
right.
to get more involved with the community, but my husband's worried it'll be another church. What do you say to that? He's listening right now.
People need social outlets, no matter who they are. And religion does not own the right to have all social organizations be called a religion. You are allowed to join clubs, and you're allowed to get together with people of like mind and watch movies and have dinner and do fun stuff, and that doesn't make you a religion.
I think you should join and have fun, and if you find out that it's just like religion, you can quit that too.
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And that's our show. And I've
Already?
enjoyed having
Well,
you
thank
on,
you.
Phil.
My pleasure.
Where can people find you on the internet?
On the internet, I'm on Facebook. It's the Phil Ferguson Show. They can also find me, Phil Ferguson, on Facebook.
With one S, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, there are...
People don't really ask how many L's. It's just the podcast.
People assume my name has one L and they're wrong, so I thought I'd help.
I appreciate it. The podcast is The Phil Ferguson Show, and like I said, it's a part finance, part atheism. Listen to the part you like or the whole thing, and share with your friends, and if you like it, give a 5-star review. Thank you so much.
And do that for the Atheist Experience,
of course.
too, you know. And come here next week to vote if you're local to Austin. Annual elections. And see you at Star of India. Bye, everyone.